Hi, Callie here from MOY Resin MB. Today we're going to do the crackle effect with a twist. There's a lot of crackle effect YouTube videos out there, and I was watching some of them. There was one that caught my eye, just a little bit different. It had, it's more like a crackle edge, and I saw that courtesy of Tifton Studio. I believe it was her number 15 video, and I wanted to go ahead and try that. Now, most crackle effect videos are on a coaster mold, so I wanted to also switch that up a bit. Okay, so yes, instead of doing the crackle effect in a coaster, we're going to do it in a candy dish. All right, so first step, you're going to have to know how many ounces your mold takes. And by the way, this is a textured mold. I have not tried this before with a texture mold, so I'm excited to see how this actually turns out. Okay, the reason that you need to know how many ounces are in your mold is because if you want to pull off the crackle effect, you're going to have to divide your resin into thirds. So I'm going to have 2/3 with alcohol ink, and I'm going to have 1/3 with the metallic powder. The alcohol ink, there's going to be two different ones, so it's going to be 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3. I'm going to have a light alcohol ink and a darker alcohol ink. I'm going to do reds because I want to make this into a Valentine's Day candy dish. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and mix and divide up my resin, and I'll be back. And a shout out to Just Resin's leveling board. It's easy to use and definitely a game changer for me. Okay, quick recap on our resin and how it's divided up. We have our resin poured into 3 cups equally, into 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, and then we have a light alcohol ink, a dark alcohol ink, and then we have the metallic powder. So I went and I have 2 more cups that I'm going to divide again. This will be the center, some glitter. And the metallic ink gets poured at 2 different times. So I'm just going to divide that up, and it's going to be not half, but I'm going to save a little bit for the end. Okay, ready to pour. Okay, here's our mold, and it's a little bit different, a little larger than the coaster that you normally see people do crackle effect in. Plus, something that I added to it is texture. This mold has texture, so that's going to be pretty cool. Excited to see how that turns out. The flow is going to be a little different. And so to start, we're going to take and pour out all of our dark ink. We're going to just run it along the edges, try to keep it even on the sides. Okay. I'm using a thicker resin, so I'm going to try to heat it up just a little bit, get the bubbles out of it. Couple bubbles getting trapped in there. Okay. Next, I'm just going to pour the metallic powder mix right on top of our darker alcohol ink. Again, I'm going to try and even that out for all the sides. I'm just going to add a little bit of the light ink to the glitter, and we'll add that to the middle. But first, I'm just going to put the light ink in the center. That's going to push out. The other stuff that you already poured. Now that'll slowly just come back in. I'm going to, again, I don't want to move this around a lot, but I'm going to try and heat it up just to help with the bubbles. Okay, I don't want to mix it too much. There we go. That's enough. Okay, stir this up. Just want you to see the consistency. Very, very thick, because when I put it in here, I don't want it to separate and spread out. So I'm going to try and keep this very thick. Okay, I'm going to add that last. All right, so the reason I separated the metallic powder pigment into this cup is because now we're gonna just make the crackle part. And the way that we're getting the crackle part is the weight of the ink. It's lighter than the powder, so the powder, even though the powder was on top, when we unmold, you'll see how it ends up being on the bottom. Okay, so we're almost done with step number 1. Also, whenever you make your glitter thicker, it's a lot easier to keep it in the center. So, like, easier to mold. Oh no, don't go in there. Okay, okay. So I'm gonna get this bubble out of here, and then I'm going to check back in a couple of hours. I'm going to turn the heat up in this room. Every 10 degrees that you raise it, it's going to cut the curing time in half. And we need to come back, maybe check in about 3 hours. I'm going to turn it up to about 75. We'll check in about 3 hours, because what we're looking for is, well, we want to be able to unmold and have it keep its shape, but yet be pliable. So that's it for step 1. we'll check back and see how this is cooking. Okay, here's our first check to see how the dish is progressing. I have it really warm in here, so I don't want to wait too long. It's been only about 2 hours. It's probably not done to where it's time to unmold, but I just want to check to see how far along it is. So what you're going to have to do is just pull on your mold a little bit, and you can see that the dish isn't really formed yet. I think probably it's probably good to check back in about an hour. So what you're looking for is the dish separating from the mold as one whole piece? Is it, and how soft is it? Because it's really, you know, you want to get it at the right time to make a perfect dish, but it is, if you're gonna unmold when it's too soft, that would be worse than unmolding it when after it passed the best time. So okay, time to give this a check. See how we're doing. All right, so not liquidy, but it's still soft, and actually I think it's hard enough to unmold and then move on to step 2. All right, let's see how this crinkle effect turned out for us. And I have to mention, when you're touching something that's not fully cured, you really should wear gloves, or it will 100% leave fingerprints and you won't be able to unsee that. That'll bother you. Okay, here we go. Come on. Okay. Okay, you can definitely see the crinkle in here, so that looks good. Even though it is a textured mold, it still flowed pretty well. You can see the white sank to the bottom. This turned out really good. All right, so step 2. My bowl with the silicone bottom. So I'm just going to put it over top, try to keep that glitter in the middle. This is what I'm not that great at. I'm never good at sizing it up. I get a lot of lopsided dishes and bowls. Okay, well, this is awesome. It's holding its shape rather well. Actually, it's sort of bouncing back up a little bit, so what we can do, I think I probably could have taken it off maybe 15 minutes earlier. What we can do is help it a little bit. I think I might heat it a little bit. That'll soften it up. Okay, so I'm going to give this a couple of hours like this and remove it, and it should be done. We'll be back in a few hours.